Hi, everyone. Hi, Alice. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh,
Joining you
karibu.
from Gede.
I see you're already here.
Yeah,
Okay, you're most welcome.
thank you.
Alice, Anika, how are you? What happened to your arm, Brian? To your hand? Oh, it's gloves. It looked like, oh, you're mute.
It looked like a leper.
Yeah, and okay, no, it looked like you had a cast.
Oh,
Oh, okay. It's cold where you are. Where are you?
I'm in Gede.
Where is that?
Gede is in Kilifi County,
Oh, Kilifi.
near Malindi. Yeah,
Ah, how is Kilifi?
Kilifi is doing well. It's raining.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's nice. You're most welcome.
thank you.
Okay. Lydia Langat, hi, how are you?
Hi, Catherine.
How are you today?
I'm okay. I'm doing well.
Oh, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah. Is it raining where you are?
Yeah, it has just stopped raining.
Okay. Where are you, Lydia?
Kericho.
You're in Kericho.
Yes.
Oh, this is diverse from Kilifi to Kericho to Nairobi.
Uh-huh.
Technology has made things quite different.
Yes.
That's nice. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
We are still waiting for people to log in. I see a few more people are signing in. Yeah, so feel at home as we wait and feel free to interact. Hi, Mary, how are you? Hello? Mary, how are you? Madam Chair, I see you are logged in. How are you? How are you today? We can't hear you. You are mute. Unmute.
I'm saying I'm fine.
Oh, nice to see you. How is Nakuru?
Nakuru is fine.
Okay. Well, that's nice. You're most welcome.
Habari ya Nairobi.
Nairobi ni baridi baridi.
I can see you're in a sweater.
Yes, it's a bit cold, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's a bit cold.
Hakuna baridi.
Nasikia kunanyesha, wenye wako karibu na wewe Kericho anasema kuna mvua.
Yeah. I'm not seeing any rain in Nakuru. Maybe elsewhere in Nakuru, but Nakuru town hakuna.
Kwa Kericho, Kericho ni mbali kiasi maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can see your boy.
Yeah, I have company here. I have company. I'm feeling cold, but others are not feeling cold.
Mm. Okay.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. How are you?
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Habari ya kijana hapo?
Mzima. I can see you also accompanied.
Yeah. Okay, now you see, now you can go back.
That's nice. I can see Pastor Chris. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Very well. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Where are you tuned in from?
I am in Nyeri.
You're in Nyeri.
Yes, I am in Dedan Kimathi University with Teresa and Audrey.
Oh, that's nice. How is Nyeri?
Nyeri is fine. The last couple of days it has been raining, but we are well.
You the people producing masks?
Yes.
Oh, that's very innovative. That is very nice.
Sanitizers the same.
Uh-huh.
We are in the production of all those things. Yeah.
Okay.
And we're having our graduation tomorrow. We're having graduation tomorrow.
You're the ones having the first online graduation, right?
Yes.
Oh, you are University of Firsts.
Of technology.
I can see you have embraced technology fully.
Yes.
That's very nice. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Faith Mbatia.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm good.
Where are you logged in from?
I'm logged in County 003. That is Kilifi County.
Oh, you're in Kilifi.
Yes, I am.
Welcome. I see Kilifi is well represented today.
Yeah, we are happy. We are happy to be well represented. We are networking well.
That's nice. How are you taking this the situation with the coast province, Kilifi?
I think basically we're just trying to really stick to the guidelines and the directives from the ministry, and also working with our own children and families, because they are also, in an anxious state, and we are trying also to handle all that, for ourselves, for our children, and just hanging around here, waiting to see how things will go.
Oh yeah, that's the spirit.
Thank you.
Okay, keep safe and most welcome.
Thank you.
Janet Soy, how are you? Janet Soy, how are you? Yeah, you are muted. Probably you can unmute. I can see Lucy. Lucy, how are you? Hi, Lucy.
Your phone to your computer.
We can hardly hear you. Shadrach Babu. Hi, Shadrach.
Hello. Hey,
How are you
hi.
today?
I'm good, and you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you too.
Where are you tuned in from?
I'm tuned from Mombasa,
Yes.
and I'm glad to be in this forum.
You're most welcome, Shadrach.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Alice, are you here now? Alice Anika? Her screen, she's on screen, but she looks like she has stepped out a bit. So maybe as we wait for Alice to come back, we can get started officially. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to our meeting today. And to say I am glad that you found time to be here with us. I would like to invite the chair, Dr. Lilian Nyangaya, to welcome us in officially and to start off the meeting. Dr. Ari, please.
Are you hearing me? Hello?
Yeah, now we can't hear you. Now we can hear you.
Okay, I was saying I was still communicating with Anika. We are trying to see how she can put her presentation on.
Yes.
So that is what I was still doing. Otherwise, I am fine. How is everyone?
We are doing well. She can send to me if she's having problems. I can share through my screen here.
She sends to you through WhatsApp?
Not through WhatsApp, through the email.
Okay, does she have your email? Probably as I communicate with the rest, you can send your email. Just a minute.
Text my number. I can't seem. I text my text me a number. I can't seem to have it here.
I was able to see you on the screen.
You are broken. We can't hear you.
Maybe there's no problem. Can you send?
As we sort that out, maybe we can hear how people have been through the week. Susan Boto, can you take us through a short debrief? How have we been since we last met last week?
Well, personally, I've been fine. I think now I'm getting the hang of things. Yeah, learning to do many things from home, working, catching up with people, exercising, trying new recipes, all those things, and trying new skills. So I think now things are, we are getting the hang of it. Although I heard of a term called, what was it? Is it quarantine fatigue? That people are getting, that they are now tired of this lockdown situation. And I think this week, even as we have been seeing the numbers increasing, the other thing that has been of concern is that people are tired of staying at home. So now people are back to work, back to their normal schedule, because people are tired of staying at home. So I think we're in that week. And then again, seeing the alarming numbers or the numbers going up, wondering, okay, now we need to take things seriously again and start, taking the staying at home seriously. So that has been the interesting twist this week, seeing those numbers increase and wondering where we are headed as a country, but still hopeful and prayerful. So I think that is what I can say. And then, of course, the other thing that is really alarming now is the floods. The floods are all over, and a lot of families are getting affected. So sometimes we've had to rescue some, relatives and other people who are in those areas. So I think that is the other area of concern. And they're saying right now that the floods are killing more people and displacing more people, even more than COVID-19. So I think even as we're doing, all this disaster management and psychological first aid, we can also apply in the incidences of floods, not only the COVID-19 situation, because this is another disaster that we are facing right now. Yeah, so I can say that is where we are. As counselors in the universities, we are still continuing with counseling in the university by proxy. Again, we are also experiencing students who are being affected one way or another. Affected, either they have people who are in quarantine or isolation or infected, or even some have been displaced because of the floods. So we are experiencing all those and trying to do the best to counsel and reach out to our students. I think that's how this week has been. Yeah, and anyone else can add to what is their experience. Yeah.
It's open, we can share our experience, how we are dealing with the situation and how we are feeling since we last met last week.
Thank you so much. I must say, this is my first time. Last time I was not able to. I got to know the information later. But as for me, it's been a bit, so many feelings at times, feeling down that you're in the house. So much is expected from you. The wife is expecting a lot from you. The children, everybody is expectant on the father. And there's some questions not able to answer, like when are we going back to school? So it's been feelings of at times you're feeling low, but all we are coping. Now the other thing is we're having many people not having food. Last 2 days ago, one of the children's home where our students have benefited a lot called me and shared how they don't have food. But when such information come, you wonder what to do. And so there are feelings of at times feeling that this thing should end fast because it's quite a challenge. But all in all, we are doing well. The other thing is that for us, like for our university, we are still going on, though not physical. We are not. Things are going on through meetings are going on through internet, and there's also work that need to be done. And like tomorrow, we're having graduation, so we expect, and we don't know. It is the first time for our country and even for ourselves. So there is that waiting and seeing how will things go. And all is well. But thank you so much, whoever came up with the forum. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you. You're from which university again? I didn't get it at first.
Dedan Kimathi University of Technology in Nyeri.
Ah, okay. You're the ones who are having also the graduation. We shall learn from you how to do graduation online. Thank you so much, Pastor Chris. Okay, anyone else? Anything interesting happening in your life, in the university, your feelings in the last week as you wait for share? Are we ready? Let me confirm with
No, just a minute.
Chair, whether we are ready.
Just
Okay, we
continue
can
on
have
the
one more
suggested
person.
sourcing, yeah.
Okay. All right, all right. Yes, anyone else can go? The forum is open. We are sharing our feelings and our experiences. Remember, this is a platform for us to also debrief as counselors and just get to catch up with one another. So feel free to share if you have had any interesting experiences or your feelings since the last meeting we had last Thursday. And for those who are joining us for the first time, also feel welcome. And as you speak, you just let us who you know, who you are, tell us who you are and from which university.
This is Patrick from USIU.
Oh yes, thanks Patrick. Karibu.
Now, my experience is the past week and this week, okay, maybe just making a whole week. We've been having orientation for the new students who are joining our classes begin next week. And so I've just been in a series, and this you're doing online. So I've been in a series of online meetings with my colleagues because we have to plan, we have to make sure everything is okay. We've done dry runs to prepare just to be sure everything will work out okay. And of course, I'm in another, like now we are in this another meeting again. Today I've been in, I think, 2 other meetings early in the day. And tomorrow I'm anticipating another meeting. And I mean, it's just been hectic. I think for me, this technology thing has just been quite a busy one. I'm almost feeling like I need to buy 3 batteries for my phone, so that when one power goes off, I replace it with the other one, because this is just tough. And you see, all this is not happening necessarily when I'm at home, where I can say I can put my phone on a charger somewhere. Yeah, sometimes you've moved out to do something else and you have to be in a meeting. So for me, I think it's just been overwhelming with the series of meetings.
Okay.
And getting convenient places to engage in meaningful conversation. So I think that is for me, that has just been a series of meetings. But basically my family is well. We are carrying on with the children and their mom. And I think that's a good part, because that is just a good place to run back to and just feel I don't have to wear a mask. In other places I have to be in a mask all the day. And that is hectic, so that is my experience for me.
Oh, thank you, Patrick. We hear you. Yeah, so you're saying for you it has been very busy with orientation, doing orientation online. I think we are learning a lot from each of the universities, how we are going to be doing all these things online. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. We can also get all that technology. Can we call it technology fatigue? We are in too many meetings like this.
I tell you.
And planning meeting. Orientation, for your orientation, okay. Have there been any challenges
in doing orientation?
Navigating through those, doing orientation online?
No, doing orientation, we did it quite well, because we started with a graduate orientation the previous week. And I think that one gave us so many lessons. So this time we are doing undergraduate orientation.
Okay.
And so the numbers are bigger than, of course, the graduate orientation. So we had learned lessons of what to do, because we realized that working from home, we will struggle with unstable internet. So we actually, those of us who are making presentations each day, had to be on campus so that we're able to work with a stable Wi-Fi. Yeah, so that when we are dealing with our students, the power doesn't keep going off, or the network going off or something. And then we had 2 stations at the place of work where we are doing our presentation. So the university provided the laptops. So when one presenter makes their presentation, the next presenter is on the other laptop. So as soon as you are done, the other one goes on. So we are not shifting seats so that somebody comes where you are sitting to carry on. And that, again, it's because we had learned from the previous, because of course we have different presenters. And that went very seamlessly. I think for me that was quite something. And then, of course, we were able to. And then what we also did, we had several of the presenters logged on even from their phones.
Just hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Chair, we are ready. Just hold on a minute. Chair, we are ready for the meeting, for the presentation. Okay, I'm not getting her feedback. Yes, yes, you can conclude on that, what you're saying.
Yeah, what I was saying is we had the different presenters were logged on as panelists. So they were all panelists in the presentation. So we could be able to engage the students on chat. When the presenter makes presentations, the other panelists could be able to be answering questions on chat that were coming as they come, because students were asking questions on different aspects. And that could be answered as the presenter goes on. So you don't have to struggle to be the one answering chats. Imagine over 100 people and about 30 of them are sending questions. One person, then you'll start answering questions and not making a presentation. So I thought that was really helpful. So we did quite well. I think for us, it came out quite well.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Patrick, for sharing those ideas. Yeah, I think these are some of the things where we need to share information with each other as universities, what we are doing in the university, how it's working. So now that we know USIU has done it, you can get in touch with them if you're wondering how to do orientation online. JQAT have told us they're doing their graduation, their first graduation online. So that will also be interesting to borrow notes from there. Yeah, so the chair tells me we are ready. So I will take it back to the chair and then we can continue with the meeting. Thank you for sharing, and hopefully we will still have maybe more time next time to debrief. So Madam Chair, Dr. Lillian, you're ready?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Good afternoon, members.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for being here today. I can see we are 20 participants so far. That is not a bad number. And without much ado, our presenter today is ready. We have Alice Anika, who is going to take us through meeting 3. We have been looking at psychological first aid, and we broke this into 3 meetings. We have done meeting 1 and meeting 2. In today's meeting, we want to do meeting 3. And in meeting 3, Anika is going to take us through the core actions of psychological first aid. So I don't want to take much time. I want to give Anika this opportunity so that she can share with us her presentation. And thereafter, we are going to react and add and delete where possible. So karibu Anika. Alice. Hello? Alice?
Yes, good afternoon. You can't hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
She's muted. She needs to unmute. Alice, please unmute. Okay.
I have done that.
All right.
You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'll take members through the 3rd stage of psychological first aid in the context of disaster management. In looking at this, I realized that I wanted to link up the psychological first aid vis-a-vis what is happening at the moment. At the moment, we have disaster going on, and therefore we were focused on COVID-19, and then flood is here with us. So when we are looking at the psychological first aid, then it is only on COVID. It is not only on COVID-19, but our response in as far as psychological first aid is concerned is what is here with us today. So I'll explore the understanding of the disaster management, the relationship, the protocol that we need to look into in psychological first aid, coping mechanisms, and support services and linkage. So maybe to members, I would ask the simplest kind of thought process that we need to go through. What do we understand by disaster? Because we are not only looking at COVID, but we also have other things that are disastrous to us as we move on all the time. Catherine?
Yes,
Yes, Catherine?
You're asking what is a disaster?
Yes, in our simple understanding.
Okay. A disaster, I would say it is anything which takes us out of our normal operation or our comfort zone, something which is catastrophic, and it shakes our normal day-to-day operations, and it is beyond the normal coping of a human being.
Exactly, thank you. And therefore, when we talk about its management, what comes into our mind? Any member can respond to that. What comes into our mind when we are now talking of its management?
Now, can I respond to that?
Yes, please.
Now, I'm thinking when you talk about management, just like my thought was, it's overwhelming our coping capacity. So managing that is being able to find systematic way of helping those involved to be able to cope with the situation that they are in so that they can get back to normalcy.
Exactly. We are looking at ability of making people move back to their normalcy. And therefore, when we are looking at the disaster management, it means we are also responding. But the psychologists are responding with the mental factor in their mind. So it's just a matter of organizing and managing all our resources and responsibility, but with the intention of rescuing those who are involved in disaster, restoring human functionality. Today, we have the COVID-19. When we look at the trends that is happening with the prevalence, of course it is disaster. Why do today people who have died are over 2 million? The cases alone is also over 3 million, and recovery is moving to again 1 million. In Kenya today, yesterday, our CS was really focusing on the fact that things are not normal, because death alone is standing at 24. Recovery 182, and cases and Mombasa displacement as far as 17,000 have been displaced. Those who are injured at 33 and those who have died at 132. So the psychological first aid is an immediate response to distress or situation which may cause mental destabilization or interference in our normal functionality. So we see there's a relationship between these two factors. The goal of disaster response is to give immediate relief to those who are affected. Like today, we are talking of evacuating those who are affected by flood, providing basic needs. There's need to collaborate to rescue, protect, and do recovery. When we come to the goal of PFA, which we had also explored, we realize that there's need to immediate response. Then there's need of calmness, there's need of protection, and there's need of stabilization. And therefore, we need to look at the alternatives that can make normal functionality come in place. Then we will discuss about our coping mechanism. So we see that the two, disaster and psychological functionality, builds around rebuilding the loss of the human being and sustainability of the human being in order for them to have our normal life functionalities. Then another thing that the psychologists, the mental health fraternity have the big task to do is to enable the people who are affected to come back and carry on with their normal life. Then mental health now comes in place. So we realize that both are sharing certain kind of characteristics. Now today, for all those of us who are in this meeting, what are some of the behavioral, psychological distresses, cues that we see happening to the people that we need to respond to very quickly? Our team has had a wing that responds quickly to the needs of our people whenever there's any disaster. What are some of the characteristics that we normally see? Any member? What are your experiences? Any member can respond. How do they be? How do the people who are affected exhibit? What do you see when you observe them?
This is Faith.
Yes, Faith.
Yeah, maybe I can try to respond from my experience in relation to more so working with children around child protection in emergencies. I think one of the things that I see a lot is the worry. There's a lot of worrying and distress in terms of this has happened and what next for me, my children, and my community. So it's more of the distress and the worry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Any member? What are some of the psychological things that we want to respond to when we are offering our psychological first aid?
Hello, there is also a lot of anxiety.
Yes.
There's also a lot of anxiety on when normalcy will occur, when we'll go back to things being normal.
Yes. Any other member wants to say something?
Yes, at times there is confusion. Not knowing what to do. The client does not know what to do, is confused.
Exactly, exactly. There is immediate confusion. Even you normally see someone, yes, we may be doctors, professors, directors, whatever, but the person is just not able to pick up pieces and move. So there's confusion state of mind. Making simple decision becomes a problem to them. There's numbness. There's some kind of fear, worry, just some sort of anxiety, sweating of the body, high, the heart is beating so fast, and therefore these are psychological issues that tells you that the person is really in need. So when we are talking about disaster, then we know panic has already set in, and people are really in a state of confusion, state of anxiety, state of fear. Various phobias comes in and worry, and they are wondering what next, what will we do, where will we sit, where will we go, how will we eat, who will come to our rescue, and so many things comes in place. And that is why the psychological first aid is required. We are psychologists to be able to think on how best we can be able to handle this. Now, what are the protocols in order for us to bring these people back to normalcy? In as far as psychological first aid is concerned, immediate response, we reach out. In counseling, people normally come to us. But when we look at disaster management and disaster that has come in, then we need to reach out to people who are suffering. And when we reach out to them, what do we do? The goal is to assist, to help, to guide, link up, refer, evacuate, save life, protect, normalize, and stabilize. Now here, among all the theories that we have learned and all the skills, Carl Rogers comes in handy. Because what our clients and what the people who are affected need is to empathize with them. UPR, empathy, and genuineness are immediate skills that we need to have in our hand, ready to solve the problem. Another protocol is to explore clients' immediate need. Not everybody needs food. Not everybody who is affected are those low ones, the most vulnerable. Sometimes it is not the case. Sometimes it is the complete confusion of the people involved. Some are injured. They have the COVID-19 case in their houses. Their daily lives have stopped. They are being told, stay in the house, don't go out, and they don't know what to do. But to others, trapping means they are starving. To others, are grieving over their lost members of their family. And therefore, our counseling skill that is required, we need to empathize, we need to give unconditional positive regard to our members and listen. Listening skill is now very core. Then another protocol is stabilize emotional stability of our clients. They are emotionally unstable, and therefore their mental state is not correct. And they are traumatized, they are grieving. And therefore, in emotional stability, the skills again and the modalities that we need to have in hand is emotional stability, trauma management skill, because I believe all of us have now gone through this. And therefore, we need to have handy a skill that can help us handle post-traumatic stress disorder treatment and management. Then give these people comfort and hope. Of course, we cannot give what we don't have, but practical hopes is important. Now, people who are affected in disaster tend to blame themselves. They tend to question, why has the government? You watch what is happening on the TV and you realize everybody coming up, the government give us this, the government give us that. And with the government giving us this, you and me is the government. Therefore, they tend to develop psychopathological disorders kind of behaviors. Now, in our emotional stability, we need to remove this kind of psychopathological state of mind. Then we also need to provide psychological practical actions. We may go in, but there are practical things that are required of us to be able to handle as a counselor, as a psychologist, as a mental health practitioner, so that you attend to personal stress reduction strategy. How do you make the person calm down in as far as stress is concerned? It has no trigger to depression and the other mental health disorder. That skill is required. Then grief and loss model needs to be applied. Cultural dynamism and cohesion approach. Everybody may be living in an urban state, but when disaster comes in, we are all a family. We are all together. Then we need to restore calmness and reduce anxiety. So anxiety reduction strategy is also very important. And during this particular time of calamities, there are those who are also raped, the vulnerable group, the children and the women and the disabled. So again, prophylaxis treatments are also very required here in order for us to normalize and bring about stability. Now, let us turn to coping mechanisms. What do we need to do in order for us to be able to cope? When we have disaster, people move very quickly. Right now, the government has put up the disaster management committees. But their mind in as far as disaster management approach is concerned is to be able to move people, provide transport, move them to the other side, and in many cases they go away. The people who remain with the burden are the psychologists, the counselors, and the medics. During the particular time of disaster management, we are talking of psychological first aid, and we explained that the psychological first aid refers to immediate response to enable the person to get stabilized. Now, during this particular time, we normally set up a kind of a camp, a tent, in order for us to be able to bring calmness. And what is required, our first strategy is to provide information. So knowledge-based approach is key. What kind of information do these people need? Update on what is happening on their situation, where they can get help, the support services that they can get, the referral services, and the networks. Those ones will be handy for them in order for them to cope up with their situation. Another coping up mechanism is adaptive coping mechanism. Adaptive means as the disaster strikes today, tomorrow, how then do we move? How do we deal with it on an everyday basis? Talking therapy. Sigmund Freud had come up with a talking therapy, and it is always handy in as far as our psychological approach is concerned. The talking therapy helps the individuals to talk about the experience. freely, how do they feel? Their anxiety, their stresses, their worries, their depressions, their hypertensions. Talking to members of their family, talking to children brings comfort and hope, and members of the group as a whole. Then they end up forming their psychosocial support network. Then nourishment. During the disaster period, you realize that people forget that they have even eaten and they are starving. And by the end of it, some collapse. You find them having high blood pressure. They have forgotten even their medication. So nourishment, eating, drinking, very important. Then the idea of relaxation also come in. The skill that is core, that we are overwhelmed. Our body cannot function. My mind is stuck and I'm tired and I can't think. Then the counselor needs to bring in the relaxation therapy so that the client can be taught how to manage themselves. When they are so much pushed to the wall, then the breathing relaxation therapy is handy. The other skill is biofeedback, because pain brings numbness and confusion and state of the mind that does not function. So biofeedback and calmness helps, and relaxation helps the clients and the individual to adapt with the situation as we move to setting up normalcy. Then positive mindset against maladaptive mindset. Positivity helps the people to help themselves quickly. We are being advised all the time, and the people who are affected move away from the disaster area, but some are still stuck with their cuckoos, they're still stuck with their cow, they're still stuck with their everything, not realizing that danger is coming. When people sleep the following day, there was a landslide and the person is buried. So the idea of making these people have positive mindset that it is okay, it will work, and then working together in participating to help the group move together. There's need of individual responsibility. Survival is my responsibility before it comes to the government's responsibility. Then personal care. Today, we have the COVID-19 members, just as a matter of sharing. What are some of the tips? We already know them, they are being sung, but to let one of the members just repeat to us, what are some of the things that we need to care and as a coping mechanism to help us avoid the disaster of the disease that we have today. Any member can just quickly remind us of some of the protocols that WHO has set in place in COVID-19.
We have been requested to wash our hands and to sanitize.
Yes.
Yeah, wash with soap and water or use sanitizer.
Yes. Other members, please.
Putting on mask and social distance.
Mm-hmm. I'm waiting. Let us all remind ourselves.
I think also being able to stay at home.
Mm-hmm. We avoid touching our mouth, our eyes, our noses, because even when we have the mask, we don't know what we might have touched wherever we were. And then people are being quarantined. And today, again, you can see the challenges with the quarantine and isolations. Then we have the disaster and security preventive guide for the flooded areas. There's immediate evacuation, moving to high ground, provision of basic needs, psychosocial support, security protection, and stabilization. But there's the maladaptive mindset that is coming with the coping mechanisms. We are being sent to safety, but there's also a maladaptive mindset that is all the time. Others are overindulging in certain activities. Today, analysis is that there's high rate of internet of activity. Over 50% of people, population, almost running 50 to 60% is on internet. So we know the repercussions of the internet and the children also on the internet. Again, people are struggling with the homework and what have you. There's overeating, idleness, overindulgence. When withdrawal symptoms, isolation, suicidal tendency. So as much as we are moving down to lockdowns and making ourselves getting quarantined, there are other issues. Social distancing is also another problem, but it is a coping strategy that has been set to enable us overcome the current challenges. A family cohesion is another coping mechanism. People who are alone are having various maladaptive thoughts because human beings are normally a social animal. And therefore, there's need for counselors to try and make people have a connection, calling one another. It's as much as people are keeping social distance, there's need for family to be as a core unit in as far as prevention of disaster problem is concerned. Otherwise, disaster also looms in the families. So coping strategy is family routine. Even when people are evacuated, there's need of eating, need of feeding, bathing, normal routine, so that with time, disaster moves to normalcy. That is the core business of the psychological first aid and disaster management. The relationship is move quickly, evacuate, protect, rescue, but there's at the end of it, normalcy. Then there's social support, the issue of the family, the churches, the friends, the school, other organization networking, so that the support. Africans are people who live as a community. So communal togetherness is normally an important asset. Then referral system is another coping mechanism. As we give information, we also need to give referral because psychologists and counselors come in at a certain point and then the others also come in. So there's need for referral so that disaster management team can come in, medical facilities, the children welfare officers, the gender, the youth, the mental services, police and hotlines and evacuation hotlines can always be made use of. And therefore, we also have psychological centers. Many of us and most of my colleagues have set up psychological centers where they're performing counseling, and members who are affected need to know. So psychological first aid is that immediate response, and it is expected of us to move out of our offices to reach out. Some of the questions that now maybe we are asking ourselves as a team today: how prepared are we? How prepared are we to offer psychological first aid? Our team, do we have a policy in place that guides us in as far as this activity is concerned? And how do we work together with other teams and the ministry to help us move forward and to be equipped with enough resources that can be able to help our people? Our profession is very important, but if it is not organized well, and so many organizations have come up like a sort of a struggle, then again we have issues. Coming to the university where our core mandate stands, how are we going to respond to the disaster which has just fallen our country and the nation at large and the world all over as students come in? Are we prepared to handle students as they come in? Is the staff, the lecturers, and all the working staff of the university, to what extent are we ready for us to continue? Remember, our psychological first aid is an immediate response, but the coping mechanism moves on and on and on. So there's need to put long-term strategy in place. As I wind up, my conclusion is we are what we are because we have always been who we are. And what is needed for solving the problems of human life is not moral estimates, but more knowledge and the humane in us. That's why we are psychologists. This is by Sigmund Freud. And every happy life can never be without a shadow of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. In every disaster, there is sadness and sorrow at the back of it. But with psychological first aid, we are able to pick up people, make them have resilience, and move on with their life. Thank you, members. We can now come in and discuss and add and subtract.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Alice Anika. I want to, with the chair here, I can add Lucia. The chair, you here, yeah, you are. I would like to pass this over to you so that you take us through the discussion, members' reaction, additions, and if there are any inputs. Please take us through that session. And thank you very much, Dr. Alice Anika. That was a very comprehensive presentation. I think we are more informed than when we came in. Members are welcome to put their inputs. Over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And thank you, Dr. Anika, for that presentation. We were actually looking at the core actions of psychological first aid, which Dr. Anika has taken us through. So I want to open this session for members so that we can discuss. I don't know if it would be good for us to discuss each core action or we discuss haphazardly. What do members think? Can we look at each core action so that we bring in inputs vis-a-vis what Dr. Anika has said? My suggestion is, like we take, for example, the first core action, which is contact and engagement. Is there anything we can add on to what Anika has said? Hello?
Yes, hello.
Are we together?
We are together. It's time for members
I want members to react to the presentation so that we see where we can add. Hello, members.
Hello. Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think I want to give my input on the same. Yeah, quite an awesome presentation from the presenter. Yeah, because one psychological aid is the immediate support that somebody, for example, in distress will need. The immediate support that they need from anybody who is either around them or anybody who will, for example, come in at some point, maybe when they need professional help. And ideally, yeah, it would entail, for example, a lot of listening at this particular point. So, yeah, listening is very key, the way she put it. And for me, the action points. Hello, there's a lot of.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because there's a lot of background noise. You're listening, yeah. So it would, for example, entail what does this particular person need immediately to regain their normalcy. Remember, this is the person who is, for example, yeah, they're looking at a lot of losses. They've lost their freedom. They've lost their income, for example. They've lost. They are, for example, in isolation. Remember, now we cannot mingle socially the way we used to do. So yeah, to me, it's a lot of loss because one, you're isolated with your immediate family, yeah, and etc. etc. So at this particular point, what is my immediate need for me to be able to go back to my normal routine? Yeah, and I think she's really put it quite clearly that one, the support that is required is the coping mechanism. Yeah, I think that is what I can add for now.
Okay, thank you, Faith. Any other contribution?
Sorry, I didn't say my name. My name is Jamila from Mombasa County.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
thank you,
Hi,
Jamila.
Jamila.
Hi.
Any other contribution from members? Okay, probably I can add on to what Jamila has said about in any psychological first aid scenario, there is an immediate need. That is the primary need, the practical primary need that the survivors need. And this is what we refer to as the water, the food, the blankets, name it. And then we have the long-term needs. And the long-term needs, Dr. Nika has told us how to cope long-term. But it's important for us as counselors or helpers to have steps on how you're going to help your clients achieve these long-term needs. If you, once you've taken care of the immediate needs, then the long-term steps need to be there. Identify the most immediate need, then clarify the need, discuss the action, and give the alternative that this person has to take long-term. That is key when it comes to psychological first aid. So practical assistance is actually one of the core actions of psychological first aid, and Dr. Nika ably led us through that. Any other additions that we can add? Hello, members. Pastor Chris.
Yes. Thank you so much. I am really excited because what you've just said is very important. That the short term, you know, Dr. has covered everything, but basically the immediate need, and it is different from one person to the other and one condition to the other. So what you've just said is true. And then seeing and discussing with your clients how to solve the long term. So you've said it very well. What I just want to ask once you are done, that we want to get to know how Mombasa, what they are doing, because I believe they have, now that the challenge is there, what the councillors are doing and how they are coping with the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Anika?
Thank you. I'm actually in Kilifi, not even Mombasa. And there's no connection with the lockdown between Mombasa and Kilifi. There's even no passing. I don't even know how those who are passing are managing. And therefore today there's high reduction on COVID prevalence in Kilifi. Kilifi people have responded very promptly. They are really behind their governor. I must appreciate the high discipline I've observed, because that is actually what has made the reduction to be achieved. The approach, again, I've seen with the police is also very friendly to the people of Kilifi, because you realize that instead of policemen running to injure people, beat them, or trying to trap them, instead they try to give a sign quite early, 1 hour, 30 minutes before time. You can see them walking around or with their police, and a siren is on. Then you see people packing off and running to their homes. So that violence, that conflict is not there. Again, they are all the time going around, talking to people, educating them on the prevention. But I think what is hitting Mombasa is that Kilifi seems to be locked and safer as compared to Mombasa. The outlets in Mombasa is more than Kilifi. Because from Twapa, people will go back to Mombasa. Then from Mombasa, there's the Kwale entrance. Then there's also the Makupa Causeway Highway coming in. And then there's also the inroad of people who are coming from outside the country, the border areas. So these areas, Mombasa seems to be quite open in as far as the entrance is concerned. Compared to Mombasa more than Kilifi area.
Yeah, I can add something for Mombasa because I am in the region.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is Jamila again.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, we are trying to keep safe and also doing a lot, yeah, from the home environment. But yeah, I think Mombasa is a bit strategic given what Anika just said. Remember, there are a lot of entry points. Yeah, and I think that is the challenge that has been there all through, because one, it was the ports, yeah, which had a lot of COVID cases, guys coming in through the ship, through ships and all that. Then now it's gone to Old Town, and there's a lot of politics that was being played around. Then now there's a lockdown, and there's a lot of panic and a lot of resentment at the governor and why he had to lock people, and people are fasting. So yeah, I can imagine the psychological impact of all this. But remember, we are talking about the psychological first aid, which for me is the immediate need. Okay, what do these people need immediately? We are looking at the physiological needs. If, for example, you're locking me down, how do you expect me, for example, to have my food for a whole 15 days? And there's no market, there is nothing. So yeah, we are waiting to see how the whole scenario unlocks itself. But we expect a lot of resentment, a lot of rebellion. Remember, yeah, because Mombasa people were rebelling even before the lockdown. Yeah, so yeah, I think we'll just sit and wait and see how it goes. Yeah, so that is basically the scenario in Mombasa.
Thank you, Jabina.
But Chair, I just wanted to mention that the other speaker mentioned that what are councillors doing in Mombasa to respond to the disaster? Some of the response, in as far as the councillors is concerned, is very difficult, because that is what I'm saying. When we are handling disaster, have we been equipped enough in order for councillors to respond? You find that is not there. And yet, when we are dealing with disaster management, there's need for planning, there's need for preparation, there's need for immediate response. Now, councillors find it very difficult to move in and respond, because where are they? Who has catered for them? As much as the ministry has recognized, and those policies have been done or they have been laid out, but the implementation is yet another thing altogether. So we see those things happening. It's like it becomes very difficult for you to move in. And yet we are supposed to reach out, because psychological first aid requires that we reach out to members who are affected in order for us to help them. So I think that is one challenge.
Okay, thank you, Anika, for your comment. And I'm just wondering, as helpers, how are we handling that? Because really, we must be proactive in our approach. Nobody will come and say, help us now, this is what we need to do. So how best can we handle it as helpers? Because in as much as we are saying we need to do remote psychological first aid to our clients, we need to get to know where these clients are. How do we get to where the clients are? My suggestion is this, that if you look at the COVID-19 as it is now, we know Amani Counseling is in the front line, representing counselors, and the ministry is also trying to bring in counselors in. Can we attach ourselves to Amani Counseling Center so that they know Dr. Anika is in Kilifi and Jamila is in Mombasa, so that in the event that they want to attach us to counselors and to survivors, then they have an easier way of reaching us, and we're able to reach our clients very well. But when we sit back and say the government is not doing this, there's a challenge. Yes, I agree with Anika, but we must find a way of breaking through and reaching the survivors, because we are the helpers. If we sit back, then social workers and psychiatrists are going to take our place, and already they are taking our place. So we have to be proactive as counselors. So my take is this, that even in Mombasa and Kilifi as it is important that we gather a lot of information from the residents there. What is this that is bringing a lot of resentment from them? Are they getting the appropriate information as concerns COVID? What information do they have? What need is there for us on the ground so that we are able to explain to the residents of Mombasa that this is what COVID is about, and this is why you are needed to be isolated? That is where we would come in as counselors. And then there is also need for us to connect them with social support, because now they are worried. Where are we going to get food? Where are we going to get emotional support? Where are we going to get social connection? Where are we going to get that feeling need? Where are we going to get the assurance and self-worth? Where are we going to get reliable support, advice, information, physical assistance, name it? So we must connect them with their social support network so that they feel comfortable enough to sit back in their houses and wait for the government to provide whatever they can provide, and wait for the essential services to be brought on the ground so that they're able to get out one by one to buy food, not all of them at a go. That is what I think as from my end. I don't know what other helpers think. Hello, members.
All right, I would like to put my input here. And I want to say, I'll pick it from where Dr. Anika left us, and she has left us with some thinking points, which I would also want us to build on. And she has asked a pertinent question: how prepared are we to offer support to our students? Because our mandate is mostly at the university as it is, and we know very soon the university is going to open. Our students are the ones who are out there, and even the staff, and they are traumatized. And if we know about disaster, when there is a disaster, the body kicks in and tries to survive the disaster. We have the inbuilt survival skills. So people will pull all the resources they have within their system to survive. And the after effects actually happen after the disaster has settled and we go back to what resembles normalcy. Is when now the body system will relax and people start experiencing. Those who are unable to cope, those now the stressful situation has moved to distress and they have exhausted their coping mechanism, is when we expect an avalanche of all the psychological issues which can come with a disaster of the kind we are having at the moment. So my question is, how prepared are we when our students land and you are the counselor, you are the dean of student or assistant dean of student, and you're being called upon to give help, to give direction to these students, to these staff who have gone through all the issues we are going through. How prepared are we really? Where do we start is still my biggest question, because like the chairs clearly said, we need to plan. As counselors, we need to be proactive, that we have plans, we are prepared. When we are called upon to respond, then we can respond appropriately. That is still the questions in my mind. I don't know if we have any input. Where can we start? How do we approach it as counselors at the university?
Okay, again,
let me try and...
Hello?
Oh, okay.
Okay, I want to
All right,
go just
go
for a
on.
second. Then I think I'll break for some prayers. So ideally, for example, at the university level, yeah, I'll be looking at the groupings, more group therapy as opposed to individual. Because one, when we are able to put people in groups and allow them to debrief, remember, debriefing just entirely gives this person the space to talk about the experiences during the COVID-19, what their fears were, or how they felt, how they reacted, their thinking system. After now, they have been able to for example, air out their views and their emotions and their fears and everything else. Then the follow-up now can be at individual levels. Now you're looking at this person who already has vented out their feelings and their fears and everything. Now, at where do you pick them from? But basically, for me, I would start with groups. Yeah, maybe gender sensitive. Yeah, that is my take.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Hello.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I want to come into the first question you asked.
Yes.
Before, because the universities will close, will open at one time. But I want to try and help answer that question. One, as counselors, we must be proactive. That is one thing I must say, as you said, because what I've realized is that we have been a bit too soft, such that when we sit back and wait to be invited officially, and we lose out and people don't know who we are. I just want to cite an example whereby nearby where I stay, there's a young man who drowned, and people are not very organized. I went in and chipped in with I helped the family. At the end of the day, they really appreciated the work of a counselor, and they invited me even to their home. So I want to agree with what you've just said, that even as we will be discussing about what shall do in the universities, the immediate challenge we are having now is COVID-19, and we are in the society, and it would be good if we first, as you've said, if the money is on the ground, we work together with them and others, because if we don't offer our services at a time as this, it would not be good for us, because I know sometime later the universities will open, but there is an immediate challenge that we have, which we should now think on how we can come in and be very relevant in the current situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
Dr.
Yes.
I'd also like to just maybe share some of the things that we have been doing as a university, or at our university, I mean, Daystar University. And you'll still be surprised that there are a lot of people who are going through a lot of challenges. And so one of the things that we did, first of all, was to do a survey for all our students, to ask them where they are, how they are coping. And I think we had also said at some point we should develop one as KUPCA to send to our universities, because that's our immediate constituency. And then after that survey, we got a lot of feedback from students, and we were able to call them, and some of them were in very, desperate situations at home. And so what we did is that we forwarded that to those critical cases to management. And what management did is that they have lobbied for a kitty or a raising for students and other stakeholders to be able to assist. So we started kind of a foundation or a kitty to be able to assist other students with basic needs, food, clothing, people who needed shelter, and any other needs. Of course, the other thing was to also make the university be able to facilitate the students with e-learning. So again, facilitated students with, they have negotiated packages for internet services for them so that they can be able to access e-learning. And then with also that, we've also been doing a lot of follow-up. We sent our contacts, and we've been doing a lot of online follow-ups with our students through Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, all those things, and sending posters to them. And so they have our contacts. And so they've been calling us throughout, just trying to, we're doing a lot of telecounseling with them. And again, the university has also facilitated the counselors with airtime, so that now we are able to really follow up with our students. So I think even from the universities, we can be able to do something. But I agree with you, Dr. Lillian and Anika, when it comes to now helping, because we are also needed in the community and supporting in the community, to plug in to, you know, organized groups where we can get some form of accountability and follow-up. So whichever organized group is in your area, it could be Red Cross, maybe the other psychological centers that you're talking about, like Amani and the rest, so that through those groups that are easily recognizable in the community, we are able to go out and offer our help. Yeah, so that is my contribution.
Thank you, Susan. Any other member who would like to have their input?
Hello, everybody. Hello?
Hello, Audrey.
Yes, hello.
Oh, I'd just like to make a contribution regarding what we can do after this. Now that we have, once we're through with the PFA, then we go to the next stage, which we refer to as skills for psychological recovery. This is usually done in months after the event has taken place, a disaster has taken place. And basically, the objectives of this is to protect the mental health of the disaster survivors and to enhance the ability of these survivors to be able to cope and to move on. And mainly, it teaches them skills that promote recovery after they have gone through the PFA, and also to prevent maladaptive behaviors. So maybe we can look at SPR after this, because it's the next stage after PFA. And then when people have gone through this stage of SPR, then those that we find have psychological issues are the ones we take up now for proper counseling. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey, for that very important addition. Ideally, we are not supposed to debrief our clients after this, because debriefing would mean re-traumatizing them again. We have already said currently we are doing psychological first aid, and I agree with Audrey. We need to now do SPR after this, not debriefing. So probably our next topic should now be SPR, as Audrey suggests, but members will agree on this. So thank you, Audrey, for that addition. Any other addition from any member? Evelyn Okech. Hello, Evelyn. Janet Soy. Yes, Evelyn.
Chair, the contribution of members towards university response has been very good. I think I'll add it up as we share the PowerPoint, so that we focus on what will the university members do. The contribution from Audrey and the rest have been very good. Group therapy is core. I would kindly request that Susie, you share with us the survey, so that it can also help us as we reach out to our students, and also do a follow-up, know how they are doing, and come up with a mechanism of helping them. So I think these are skills that are good, and the SPR would also really help. Yeah, I agree with that.
Thank you, Anika. Evelyn, I saw you. Can we hear you?
I have issue with the technology.
We can hear you.
Hello.
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 Yes, Janet.
Thank you for what you have shared. I think we are ready also as Egerton for the student. We have been doing the follow-up through WhatsApp, and we have been finding some challenges because others need some help. But now we know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Janet? Okay. Now, Faith, you have any addition to make? Faith Mbatia?
Yes, maybe just to emphasize on the need to work with the county disaster management team, because that's the only way that we'll get recognized. Because I realized that during any disaster, and from my work experience, because I do community work a lot. Most of the time, it's usually the coordination of interventions, which include all sectors, and psychological support is one of the areas that really done by Red Cross, but I think we need now to also be strong enough, I guess, and share our skills and expertise in those areas, because I think most of that is usually done by social workers, and I think we can do this, and we can do it, professionally. Yeah, that's just my addition.
Thank you, Faith. I think that is also a very good addition for those of us who are wondering how we can get in through the county disaster management team. In Nakuru, for instance, there is Red Cross on the ground. So we can work together with the Red Cross and the county department, the county disaster management team. So in other areas also, let's be proactive. Let's look for those county disaster management teams. Lucy, you have been so quiet. Lucy, are you
Hello.
there?
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my input is this. Hello. Okay, I'm saying, first of all, I really want to appreciate Anika and all that the team that has been organizing this. It's been a very good learning lesson, especially for me. But other than joining the county government, I'm feeling like, okay, personally on my case as a councillor, I'm realizing that there is a lot that we can also do in our immediate communities. Even without having to go out there, there's a lot, and there are people who are expecting us to come in and help. Because you realize like parents are having issues with their children still at home, and they are looking up to us to provide solutions or a way out. There are family issues, family conflicts. We have people who are suffering because they don't have food, they don't have the basics. And really, I'm saying there's a lot that we can do even within our community without necessarily, that is, if you're not able to go out there and join the teams out. So let us not be idle, that is what I'm saying. We have our WhatsApp groups. There's a lot of information that we can share. The psychological information, especially in terms of coping, the positive coping strategies that we can share with them, helping them understand their anxieties and the fears that they are, and what they can do.
Thank you, Lucy, for that input. So Lucy says, even at personal level, we can still do a lot. Let's reach out to families, our neighbors, so that we can be able to help even parents out there who have issues with their children. Thank you, Lucy. Ken.
Yes, Dr. Jambo.
Jambo sana.
Yes, thank you. The discussion, the presentation has been so very wonderful. Yes. And I want to agree with especially those who have added their input to the presentation. I think those are some of the ways that we can still continue to use, of course, to offer support, but also to ensure that we remain relevant as a profession. But also thinking about more ways that we can be able to reach our community and our students. Maybe I wouldn't want to mention that at Kenya Methodist University, we have formed a team of all counselors in the university, not necessarily in the counseling section, but also those who are in the department of the section of counseling, that is the lecturers. And we've given our proposal to the university in addition to what we have been previously been doing. so that we could be able to offer more structure and counseling to support our staff, to support the students, and also to support the community. So we have come up together, and we have thought of, making our services known to the students through use of a web page in our university website to create more information and to keep it updated, to use more video facilities from Zoom to podcast and the like. And our goal really is, much as we continue to support, as you rightfully said, Chair, to continue making people realize the essence of counseling and also to appreciate our services and to know that they can always reach out to us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. Finally, can we hear Irene? Irene.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, sorry, I'm in the darkness. It has been raining here. Yes, but I'm so grateful for the discussion. Asanteni sana daktari. Yeah, I had kept losing the connection because of the internet issues here, but I've been following and I'm very grateful for that, this training and the joining together. And like we are saying, let's do what we can among our students, our community, and our country. There are many who need us. I've been getting even friends referring my number to people who are very far, people who have children going through issues. So anytime somebody reaches out to us, let's use whatever resources we have to reach out to them. This is a disaster which Dr. has taken us through. We are not ready for. Maybe the preparedness was not as good, but you can rise to the occasion and do something. So we are so grateful and we appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. I am seeing somebody with Infinix Hot 4. Infinix Hot 4. Talk to us. Okay, Evelyn Okech, are you ready to talk? Evelyn?
Hello,
Okay,
are you
I can see
getting me?
Anita. Infinix, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Rose. I'm stationed in Mombasa. I'm so grateful for this talk. It has been a very, very, very educative talk. And then Mombasa being one of the most hit regions, actually it is so relevant to us. And whatever has been discussed here actually is very, very important that we have to reach to the community. Because myself, I'm in the community level. And there's big challenge, especially when it comes to fear and anxiety. And there is a lot of stigma within the people. Because I've come across people who have actually diagnosed positive of COVID. And it's like now they're an outcast. There's a lot of stigma. So we've really tried to support where possible. And one other aspect that is really, really getting needy is on the healthcare providers, where you meet with some medical professionals who really undergo a lot of stigma up to their even family levels, their neighborhood and all that. So actually, as much as I've followed the talk, there is a lot of support geared to the students and to other people, but the healthcare providers really are in need of support. Because it's like everybody else thinks they are actually prepared to meet this. They are not. They are really traumatized in a way. Some of them even had a lot of fear on what could happen, fear of what could happen to them. How are they going to go back to their homes? How are they going to be with these clients? And they actually need a lot of support. So as much as we about the healthcare provider. Hello? Are you getting me?
Yes. Yes. We have lost
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I think we have done justice today. And this was our last presentation for psychological first aid. We have had 3 meetings that have taken us through the psychological first aid. All members have participated, and I want to thank everyone for your participation, which has been so key for us as helpers. Key things have come up. One of the things that I have picked from our presentation is that there is need for skills for psychological recovery training, which is the next skill after psychological first aid. Then from Mombasa, we are picking that there is need to do something on the stigma of especially the healthcare providers and helpers as a whole. Then I've picked that there is also need for this survey that we were working on at KUPCA to be rolled out to all members so that we see how to cascade it to our universities. So we need to agree as KUPCA members. What do you want to discuss in the next meeting? Do we look at stigma for helpers, or do we look at skills for psychological recovery? SPR. Hello?
I would suggest we do SPR and then we can do stigma after that.
Move to this. Yes.
Okay. Members, what are other members thinking? SPR?
Yes,
Yes,
SPR.
I also support the same.
And also the issue of stigma.
And also the issue of stigma.
Maybe
because we
at
can
some
only do
point.
one. So we will start with the SPR and then we now move to stigma.
Yeah.
Audrey, are you there? Audrey? Hello, Audrey? Okay, I will side chat Audrey to see if she can be the facilitator for the SPR for the next session. So
she's there. You can talk to her. She's answering.
Hello, Audrey.
Yes.
Are you able to hear?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so members are of the opinion that in the next session, we look at the skills for psychological recovery, the next step after PFA. So we are wondering if you can be the next facilitator for that.
Maybe not.
Okay, so any member who feels ready that they can be able to.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so I will side chat Audrey and we will be able to tell you who will take us through SPR in the next session. So I want to take this opportunity to thank all of us. Without you, this Zoom meeting would not have been a success. And I want to believe that we are having self-care as helpers even as we continue helping. I want to give it back to Catherine.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. And I think it has been a very useful session. We have gone actually through our training. This has been a full training on psychological first aid. And those of us who have undergone the 3-session training, I think we are much better now at practically providing psychological first aid to our students and to the people who need our help most. I would like to encourage us to continue taking care of ourselves. We know this is not easy for any of us. And as we started, when we did, even as helpers, we need help. We should not underestimate the trauma and the anxiety. There's a lot of low-level anxiety going through. So I would also encourage us to continue taking care of ourselves, following the guidelines we've been given. Stay at home if you can, keep distance, put on your mask, sanitize, observe all the guidelines we've been given. Best of all, we need to keep a positive mental outlook that we have what it takes to cope. We are coping well under the circumstances, and that this will end soon, and we will be there to be able to support our families and those who need our support most. So I want to thank you very much. We also need to agree before we leave, if we keep our meetings once weekly, or do we feel like we can add them to twice a week? It's something I would like to know, because we seem to have several things we want to cover and to build our capacity. Do we still meet once a week, or can we increase these meetings to twice a week?
For me, I propose once a week because we're also in the middle of many other work-related meetings.
Okay, Susan says once a week. What do the others think?
I support, it is okay.
Okay, once a week. Then next week we have our meeting again on Thursday at 3:30. And I'll say until 10, we keep safe, and all the very best. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for attending.
Thanks, Chair. Before you end, hello?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Now, before you end, allow me to take this opportunity to really thank Dr. Anika. Dr. Anika stepped in to give us psychological first aid, the core actions within a very short notice, and we are happy. So thank you, Dr. We are looking forward to you sensitizing us more and more. And then I was wondering, can we have a certificate for those who have attended these sessions, the 3 of them?
I'm also wondering, Chair, if we could...
Good idea.
Yeah. Of course,
Yes,
there
I
are those who
also
have attended one session and not others, but there are those who have attended meeting 1, 2, and 3, and therefore have gone through the full course for psychological first aid. Can we have a certificate for them?
Yes, we
have a
can.
certificate.
Good idea.
Maybe,
Yeah, it is
Chair, I would
okay.
say that, yes, I was saying that those who have attended at least 2, maybe can be considered.
And you know you have attended 2.
I've attended 2. Actually, I missed last week because I had another training for job related. I actually was supposed to be attending even this afternoon, but I consider this very important. So I would request that those who have done 2 can at least be considered. Number 2 is if Chair, we could receive the materials, the notes that our facilitator has been sharing. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
I think the information we will receive, we've been putting in the WhatsApp earlier on, but we will discuss as executive and then let you know through the WhatsApp.
Okay.
Thank you, members.
Okay.
This particular, and I've seen is already on the KUPCA group. I hope you are there. If you are there, this particular has already been shared.
Oh, it's there. Okay. Then I think I saw something. I will have to check.
Recordings were sent on.
And then also encourage other members to attend. These meetings are important for us to build our capacity. Thank you and have a good day.
Sure. Asante sana. God bless you.
Bless you all. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, members. Most welcome. Love you all.
Thank you.
Let's keep chatting,
Thank you,
building
Dr.
ourselves. Ken, it was nice seeing you after a long time. Kathy,
Good to
bye.
see you too. Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay, Susie, bye-bye. Thank you.
Hi, asante.
Okay.